Welcome to another episode of The Latest with Maya. Today, I am very excited to have a conversation with actor Ross McCall. You've seen Ross in the miniseries Band of Brothers, The Offer, Silo, and so many more. You've also seen him in movies including About Us, A Violent Man, which he also wrote and directed, On Fire, and Aftermath. Ross also played Matthew Keller in one of my all-time favorite shows, White Collar. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited to be talking with you.
It's absolutely my pleasure. I'm very excited to come and do this, and I'm very honored that you invited me on.
So let's get started. So, who has had the biggest impact on you professionally?
Oh, great question. Um, so many people. I'm very lucky. I've been doing this for many years now, and so throughout my career, I've managed to work with people that I've really admired, right? And dare I say, people who've been um, idolized, I guess, in my career. So from a very early age, I started working with actors that I looked up to. And so I've got 100 that I could mention, but I'll keep it short. The people that have influenced me, number one would be, and people who know me probably will guess I'll say this, is Tom Hanks. Tom is somebody who hired me for Banner Brothers many years ago, and then uh, had a say in hiring me again on a little cartoon we did called the Polar Express. And it was a strange job for me, the Polar Express, because one, I'm British, so I had no idea that this iconic book was present in many people's childhood. Um, and so when I got brought onto the movie, I didn't really know much about it. And also, from an acting standpoint, it was Tom's movie. He's the movie star. And so he was playing, I think, 5 or 6 roles. And my job was to play opposite him. Whenever he was Santa Claus, I'd be the boy, then he'd be the boy, and I'd be Santa Claus. And he'd be, the guy on the roof of the train and the conductor, and I'd be the other one. And so I was acting opposite Tom for 3 months. Um, and for 2 of those months, it was just he and I and the director and whatnot. So it was a great acting class. However, what he did for me was uh, he showed me how important things I already knew, but it was good to see somebody of his stature actually bringing that to the forefront, which was kindness, politeness, punctuality, professionalism. He knows everybody's name. He says good morning to everyone. He's there at the trailer before anyone else. He gets his work done. And that was very admirable for me to see somebody of his stature being able to do that. I have a pretty good work ethic myself. And so to be able to watch somebody of that level take it that seriously was lovely. On a personal note, he's also been really cool with me with just advice about personal life. So I would say him, but I would also throw in other people that you may not know. Wonderful actor called Bob Hoskins. I don't know if you ever know Bob. Bob was a big British movie star in like the 70s and 80s. And he and I worked together in London when I was young. And again, he put a guiding arm around me and kind of talked me through it and told me how to behave and how to work. And so those two people I would certainly put up there.
Oh, wow. I love that. Yeah. Um, yeah, so who has had the biggest impact on you personally?
Again, so many. Um, sorry, my dog's just about to come in. Don't be alarmed.
Oh,
I'm burgled. This is what happens when you have a day off and you're doing an interview at home. Your dog comes and says hi. Come here. Biggest big my dad is one of those. I put my brother in there, I put my mom in there. So family. I have a really good set of friends, a very close knit community of friends that I've had around me for a long time, but it's a very contained unit. And I lean on them and they lean on me. And I would say they've been brilliant for me personally. You know, it's not all about work, it's about life sometimes. And you know, my friends and family would be that answer. And
Oh,
this one,
I love that. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that it was your dog coming in because I saw the door open and my mind immediately just went to somebody's breaking in. So,
listen, I live in Los Angeles. They say crime is a thing. No, I'm very lucky. I'm in a private homestead. I like to keep
yeah,
my private, and that includes where I live.
yeah,
So she has free range of uh of my house and the yard and all sorts, and she's safe, so she can be out there as long as she wants. And then she comes in and
yeah.
pokes on.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Um, so what has been the biggest obstacle you've overcome?
Oh, these questions are good, Maya. The biggest obstacle, I guess, well, because we're sort of talking about, you know, work and career, let's sort of stick on that path. I guess moving country was a big deal for me. I didn't realize it at the time, you know, because I was enthralled with the excitement of moving to Los Angeles and moving to America. And um, I'd been such a fan of cinema my whole life that to me, the epicenter of that world was Los Angeles, California. So my first trip to America, and I traveled a lot as you know, in my teens and my early 20s. I traveled, you know, to India. I mean, I went places. I was always traveling, but I'd never been to America. And America was the first time I came here was from Band of Brothers. And so when I first stepped foot on American soil, that excitement was uh, uh, apparent to me. I understood it, and I was enjoying that ride of that excitement. But I guess moving here and changing my whole life to come to a different country, a different culture, essentially, and a different way of being was a personal barrier that I guess I had to break through. You know, you're leaving family, you're leaving friends, you're leaving, you know, Sunday roasts and Scottish breakfasts, you know, come to an American grocery store. It's a big deal. So I guess that would be my big one. Um, but of course, you know, many things happen in life. Life is a beautiful roller coaster. It is full of peaks and valleys and ups and downs, and you know, um, personal tragedies come into play sometimes that are not involved in your life, and you have to deal with those. So, you know, apart from those obvious ones, I would certainly say moving country was probably the one I had to really take on board.
Wow. Um, so if you had a warning label, what would yours say?
I'd have to ask the people who've been in my life, I think. Um, my warning label, my own one would be, you know, I was going to be funny and like, you know, not say anything bad at all because I'm lovely. Um, what
Yeah.
would my warning label be? That's such an interesting question. I guess my warning label would be um, proceed with care. You know, I like to think that I'm a pretty caring human being. I like to think that I'm loyal and you know, I have your back, but you kind of better have mine. You
Yeah.
know, so I'm a little bit like that, and
Yeah.
probably to my detriment. You know, that is
Yeah.
the therapy session. That's probably something that I've you know, had to be aware of and work with throughout my life a little because maybe you need to be a little more malleable and not be so defiant on your have my back and I'll have yours.
Yeah. Yeah. So I am pop culture obsessed and I go in stages of shows that I cannot stop watching. Is there a show that you are currently obsessed with?
Uh, and I'm not embarrassed to say this at all, and I'm going to give you a little backstory. So a lot of people, you know, I write also. You very kindly mentioned that earlier, and so a lot of my writing tends to lean on drama and tends to lean on, not always darker, but life drama. And so when I watch a show, I've watched, some of my favorite shows are Breaking Bad, for example. I loved Breaking Bad. It was a great show. And however, right now I do have a current addiction to a television show. And I'm sure most people out there will be like, he's going to say Yellowstone, or he's going to say, I don't know, I can't even think of another example right now, but like a big, gritty drama. And the truth is, I'm absolutely addicted to a show called Below Deck. And it's a reality show. I've never watched reality in my life, I don't think. And I have sat down and watched Below Deck. And the reason being was I was very fancy one year. I was in Capri, or Capri, however anyone wants to say it, out in Italy. And it was actually a UNICEF function. And one of the gentlemen that was helping raise a lot of funds to get this UNICEF function up and running was a young man, very intelligent fella, very wealthy, he'd done well in his life, and he was paying back and giving back to UNICEF. And he and his beautiful bride were there. And I'm doing a movie takes place on a yacht. And I was asking him about his yacht because he has one. And he says, you should watch this show called Below Deck. And I said, sounds ridiculous. And he told me a little bit about it. I went home and I watched it maybe a month or two later. I was like, there's that show. Addicted. I've watched like 10 seasons of this thing. And every night I sit at home, if I'm here, Below Deck. I think I'm on Below Deck Down Under, which is very exciting.
Wow, I love that. Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
exactly Scorsese, Maya. It's not exactly sitting down and watching the dramas of which I love. A lot of people. I used to sit here and watch The Godfather. That was my thing, and Cool Hand
Mm.
Luke, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, the movies that I love. But now I find myself watching Below Deck Down Under.
I love that. Yeah, you mentioned Breaking Bad. That is my best friend's favorite show that I I've never seen. But that's like the one show that he watches a ton of movies, and that's like the one show that he will rewatch. And so I keep giving him, I've given him like a long list of shows that he has to watch. And so, and White Collar's on there. So,
I'm glad we made the list. Glad we made
yeah.
it. Now,
Yeah.
I see behind you, I see Teen Wolf.
Yes.
Now I have a few friends on Teen Wolf. I'm not going to say their names right now because you'll get too excited, but that's interesting. And then I'm looking around, but I don't see any of my movies or TV shows there, Maya. I don't see.
Okay, I actually have a White Collar poster
Okay,
on, yes, on this wall over here.
you'll forgive me. Then you'll forgive.
So, okay, thank you. Yeah. Now I need to, I have been wanting to just decorate my room with just pretty much like all white collar stuff. So,
You've gone a little too far, but I like it. I like it. I like that. That's your.
thank you. Yeah. Yeah, that is white collars on all the time. Um, so that's the one show I was telling my mom a little while ago because it's like it's ever since it came back on Netflix, especially, it's been on all the time. And because I was telling my mom, it's like it's the one show that I can like completely turn off my brain and watch.
Absolutely, it's so much fun to sit watch the capers that they're up to, and
Yeah,
and Tim doing their thing. It's fantastic. It's a good show. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it is. And but yeah, I've actually interviewed a couple people from Teen Wolf, and one of the actors I interviewed, he sent me those two posters.
See, now he's upped his game. He sent you the posters. So now I've got to send you posters. That's what you're trying to tell me? That's how.
No, no.
Do you want me to send you a cardboard cutout? Because I see it was at J-Lo. Who is that behind you? I don't even know.
Ariana Grande.
Of course, I knew that. It was the second choice.
Yeah.
Ariana. All right.
Yeah.
I'll send you a cardboard cutout, and then I'll make the wall.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
All right, before you ask me the next question, I'm going to do an awful thing during an interview. I'm going to go shut the door because it's getting
Okay.
cold.
Oh, no worries.
This is what happens when I have the doggy at home. Okay.
Yeah.
Ready for it. Continue.
Yeah, my dog's downstairs, otherwise she'd probably be making a lot of noise. So
I understand. I also now looking at the camera, I realize I'm wearing. I'm like matching the tree. I'm
yeah,
like disappearing into the background. Okay, carry on.
I like it. I think I like the matching with your tree.
Soft.
Yeah. So, what genre of movie would your life story be told as?
I think it would be. I think I would have three different genres. I think. I think my life story could be a romantic comedy, and for many reasons. And the second genre would be pure comedy, because for many reasons. And then the third one would be, intense, gritty drama.
Mm.
Not my life is intense or gritty, but I think that just where I grew up and how I grew up, and especially like my childhood into my adult life, would perhaps be a little grittier than most would either expect and or have experienced.
I like those.
Yeah.
Yeah. I yeah. I've always said I would want my life to be told as a rom-com and a musical. So
Oh yeah, I do. I can see that for you, Maya. I'm not sure. That's my.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, yeah, I those are two of my favorite genres of movies. So, yeah. Um, so what small things bring you joy on a daily basis?
Oh, these are great questions.
You.
Well, what would be my small things that bring me daily joy? Okay, I'll start off easy, easy. My dog. So I wake up when I travel a lot for work, clearly. Okay. So I'm on location a lot, and sometimes she comes with me, sometimes she stays here with the dog sitter. But um when I'm home, we are like this. We're together all the time. I mean, I gotta run out and do some things. She's getting a little older now too, so she doesn't exactly want to, come and run around the park as much as she used to. But every morning she wakes me up she has her own bed, but she is right here by my bed, breathing on me, nudging me, tail wagging, get up, dad. So that is a joy in my life. Mona, the dog I had before her, who, I lost, she was the same. So I guess my animals is a joy for me. Another small, but that's like an easy give. We can all see that. A really small joy for me is a nice cup of tea. I have a fair few cups of tea throughout a day. Being a Scotsman, that's basically like our intake of water. So, tips and having a cup of tea during the day is just such a pleasure for me, and one of the greatest little joys. And I guess speaking with loved ones is a joy. And then, the little things of life, putting up the Christmas tree, a joy.
Yeah.
So the simple things, a nice walk, a
Yeah.
little bit of sunshine, a good cup of tea, and my dog. Done.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
This is you're expecting, were they, Maya? You thought, you've seen some of my work. You thought for sure my little joys would be, I don't know, robbing a bank or
Yeah. Yeah. I thought, yeah, I was certain you were going to say that. So
drinking a shot of whiskey in the morning, you know,
yeah.
watching below deck and enjoying a nice cup of tea.
Yeah, I love that. um, so what is something people are always surprised to learn about you?
Um, I think not so much anymore, but it used to be my accent. Uh, people tend to know who I am now, so they know that I'm Scottish, essentially. Um, and I think for a long time they were always surprised when somebody came over to say hi or they wanted to talk about a show that they'd seen or take a photo or whatever it was. And we got to chatting, it would always be, "Oh my God, you're not American?" I'd be like, "No, it's." So I guess that would be one. I guess the other thing that people would be surprised are that I enjoy a cup of tea and watching Below Deck. I think we've answered. I mean, no, I'm sort of kidding. I have a very calm life. So my work is always on and traveling and you're doing your thing and but I'm a little older now too. So it's like, I like the slower pace of life. I still enjoy traveling. I still enjoy going out. I still enjoy socializing. I still enjoy these things, but it's more about having a good dinner. It's more about having a nice glass of wine with dinner, um, rather than tearing up the dance floor at 2 a.m., which I still do with people I work with. But it's not a weekly occurrence.
Yeah, I have never done that. So
Miss it out. You miss
yeah,
it.
I know. Yeah, it always sounds so fun. I just then I um my family and I always joke about that I get like very overwhelmed with large crowds and like a lot of noise. So I'm like I can imagine doing that, but I don't think I could actually do that.
Let me tell you, I'm this. I don't like large crowds. I don't like loud music. I also get overwhelmed. There's a key to it. There's a secret to it, and the secret is go for a small amount of time, and then we call it an Irish exit. I think the Irish French exit, and that means you go in, you do your due diligence, you say hi, you have to say hi to, and then ciao,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I always joke with my family that that would be me. I'd like walk in and immediately just walk right out. So
do that off. You're not alone.
yeah. um, yeah, so what is your favorite way to procrastinate?
My favorite way to procrastinate would be, oof. Well, I guess it's not really procrastination because I'm still I'm still doing something. Listen, I love a chill on the couch. I love mindless flick of the TV and see what's going on. I don't really sit there and do the couch potato thing. That's not really my thing. If I'm not learning lines or if I'm not reading a script, I'm writing sometimes. If I'm not doing that, I'm watching football, and I probably do that a lot, which is soccer to you guys. Um, and it always reverts back to that nice cup of tea I was talking about. So that's probably my procrastination where I can sit down, maybe throw on a game, watch a little bit of the football. Um, I try so hard not to be in the world of scrolling, which I know a lot of people do, and I was guilty of that for a while. But that endless scrolling on the gram or the X or whatever it is. I try not do that because that can lead me to procrastinate.
Uh,
But I'm all for a good chill. I do
yeah,
like a good, you know what, quick cup of tea, maybe a little nap in the afternoon. Golden.
yeah. I like that. Yeah. 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 Is there someone who, without fail, always makes you laugh?
Yeah, I have one person in particular. Uh, she shall remain nameless at this point, but um, known each other for a long, long time, and without fail, yes, there'll be a lot of laughter. I think it's interesting when you meet people in your life who I also have friends. There's like two friends of mine. Again, we'll keep their names out of it, but without fail, when we're around, actually, I'm very lucky. I'd probably say I have four friends who, when I'm around them, we just don't stop laughing. Two of those guys would be Banner Brothers guys. And there's like eight of us that all hang out and they're all very funny, but there's two in particular that if we're around one another, it's it's nonstop laughing for a week. And then two of my best friends, we can literally just, set each other off with ridiculous conversations that always make me laugh. Uh, so yeah, I'm lucky. I'm a lucky man. I've got a good handful of people that can really make me laugh. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah.
I'm all
Um,
about humor. That's a big thing for me. It's like, you know, um, uh, sometimes it can be a superpower, sometimes it can be a mask. People use humor to get through, and that's certainly been me throughout my life. I've relied on humor a lot. So
yeah,
to me, humor is very, very important.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, me too. My family and I have like a very um warped sense of humor with everything we've gone through. Like it's always like my mom has, since I got sick when I was so young, she always made sure that our house was filled with like joy and laughter. Um, and so my mom, my sister, and I, we laugh about things we probably shouldn't, but that's, yeah, it's how we deal with things.
Way of dealing with it. Laughter, they say it, laughter is a great medicine, right? I mean, it's
Yeah,
really, and if you can laugh at the unfortunate things that are going on in your life, it sort of lessens it
yeah,
some. But it also, bonds you all because you can kind of make that joke. I
yeah.
do want to say, it sounds like your mom's an awesome person. I want to meet your
She
mom.
is. Yeah, I would. She's not home right now, or I would.
Right now, I'm saying in general, she
Oh,
sounds like a great person. So at one
yeah,
point, we're going to say hi.
she is. Yes, yeah, she's a big fan of yours too, so I know she would love that.
Make that happen.
Yeah. Yay. Um, yeah, my family and I actually go to LA at least like once a year. So
Huh? Well, next time you're in the
yeah.
city, let me know and we'll go grab a cup of tea or a lunch. You tell me.
Oh, I would love that.
Right, done.
Um, so do you have any irrational fears?
I don't even know if they're irrational. Well, yeah, maybe I do. I was going to irrational, but they are kind of irrational. Yeah, I have I've got, I guess you would say it's an irrational fear of snakes. Never been around them. Don't want to be around them. And I often say, I'm pretty, I like to think I'm pretty protective of people and things and uh animals and such. If I see a snake, you're on your own. I'm out. I'm down the road. I've never
Yeah.
encountered a snake. I've never had a bad situation with a snake. It's just whatever that is. If I see him on TV, I'm like, gone. Um, what else? I think that's sort of it. I think we all have little fears, I guess, anxiety. Sometimes of flying can happen. Sometimes of getting on a train can happen, and they're all pretty irrational in the sense of, you're okay. Um, but no, I don't really think I have like I think I have anxieties like everybody else does,
Yeah.
but I don't think much of it is like irrational. Um,
Oh, yeah.
perhaps that will change maybe today. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, I also always feel like my fears aren't irrational, and then I speak them out loud, and I either hear myself and I realize it's irrational, or like my mom or my sister will tell me that's irrational. So um they always make help me realize when something is irrational.
I think that's the key. I think have some trusted allies around you. They can absolutely say,
Yeah,
you know, calm it down, pump the brakes, and
yeah,
give you another angle to look at, which can help you see that perhaps it is irrational. Yeah, and it's good. It's good to hear things are irrational sometimes.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, although I always, when they tell me you get that's irrational, right? I'm always like, well, it makes sense to me.
Sure, and that's okay too.
Yeah,
That's okay too.
yeah,
Yeah, it's good to
yeah,
have highlight you know, the
yeah,
the fact that maybe you should just calm down for a second. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Um, so what is the best song to describe your life right now?
Oh, wow. The best song to describe my life right now. Wow. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. That's right.
I like that.
Yeah, that's because I got the Christmas vibe right now. You can't see the house right now, but I got trees all over. I wanted to, for some strange reason, be in like a Christmas forest this year. And so I have trees planted all over the place, not planted, but yeah, all over.
Yeah,
And, there's an ambiance of uh Christmas Yuletide music going on in the house occasionally. So probably that. Probably
that.
Sinatra and Bing Crosby having a little duet. That's a
Yeah.
song.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
You
Um,
never know. It changes.
oh,
Back
yeah. 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 Um, yeah, always during the holiday season, my family and we love just watching as many Christmas movies as we can.
oh,
Um, so that's one of my favorite like traditions that we have. Just watch as many as we can during the holiday season.
so you have to have a list that you go to. I've got a
Yeah.
list exactly what I'm watching over the Christmas period.
Yeah. 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 So do you have a go-to comfort show or movie that you turn on when you just want to tune out the world?
100% Friends. Easy. Easy answer. To me, Friends has been I have it on HBO and I'll absolutely if I'm going out for dinner and I leave the dog here, sometimes I'll put on, dog TV on YouTube or whatever for the kid. But most times it will be Friends. I'll put Friends on. So when I come back in, the Friends is still playing. But I find that show a particular show in the sense of I still if I've seen it 1,000 times. I think I can still watch an episode and laugh out loud a handful of times throughout that 20 minutes that it's on. Like those jokes, the timing, uh the performance, I think is just great. And I was very fortunate years ago to work with David, who plays Ross on Friends,
Yeah,
and did Banner Brothers with us. And I got to know him relatively well when we were shooting because, I'm a Scottish Catholic playing an American soldier who's Jewish and speaks German, right? So I mean, I had
yeah,
this whole thing to get my head around and deal with. And David was so open with me, leaning on him to ask about his faith. I really wanted to tap into the Jewish faith a little more. And
yeah,
David at my sounding board, and he said, "Ask me anything you want." Anything, and I'm happy to. And so we kind of bonded over that a little bit, as you would.
yeah,
And that was in the height. I mean, he was coming to the end of Friends, but he was still, I think he still had another season or two left. I think he was probably in like season 8 or something when he shot Band. Um, and so I was a massive fan of the show before. And then meeting him, I certainly had that moment of, I've been watching this guy for, 6 seasons already. And to become pals with him. So now, just even watching his
yeah,
work on the show, I just think is incredible. I was really saddened when Matthew Perry passed last year, I think last year. I was really saddened by that because it was an end of an era for me. Just because of this TV show has been a huge, not influence, but a huge part of my comfort for
yeah.
25, 28 years, whatever it is. So that would be my easy go-to show. I know that was a long answer, but yes,
Yeah.
Friends.
I love that. Yeah, Friends is one of my comfort shows too. And I was also, I mean, I know so many people were, but so sad when Matthew Perry died. And I was thinking, I was telling my mom at first, I was like, never been this sad about, somebody I didn't know. And then I thought about it. I was like, that's actually not true. I'm like, I was so sad when I heard about Willie Garson. And I could not watch White Collar for a long time after that. And then eventually I was like, I need this show in my life. And I was the same way with Friends. I didn't watch it for like a month, and then I was like, I need this show.
Well, and I think also, if you're talking about Willie and Matt, I mean, there were very different circumstances, of course, but they were both Willie. I can say from his standpoint, he was very proud of his work, and he was very excited about the job that he was doing. So he would love that you'd be watching. So I think that's a great thing.
Thank you. Yeah, that's like what I remember when I heard about him, I just started sobbing. Like I could not stop crying.
Yeah, it was a tough period for all of us at that point. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but I actually also, just when you're talking about Band of Brothers, I love hearing that you were asking David Schwimmer about his faith because I'm Jewish and I love um, when something is authentic and of the Jewish experience. And so,
It was very important to me, and it was actually the second time I played a Jewish character. I did a play in London called Lost in Yonkers, which is a Neil Simon play, very famous playwright. And I played Jay Kernitz. In fact, I have the poster over there in my office. And that was my first foray into the Jewish faith because the play's not necessarily doesn't lean too much into it, but it's certainly there, and the audience members that were
yeah,
coming to watch the show were very reliant on that being expressed in the correct way. So it was so when Band of Brothers came along, yeah, it was something I really wanted to really know, you know.
yeah. And thank you for that.
Please, my pleasure.
And so I have one more question for you. Um, so I love inspiring and motivational quotes. And this week, the one that spoke to me is it's easy to drown in your own thoughts. Don't always believe everything you think. Is there a quotation that has inspired you lately?
There's a quote that's inspired me forever. Um, so much so that those who've been paying attention, it's been here the whole time, which is a tattoo that I have.
Yeah.
And this tattoo says, "This moment is as it should be." Now, this
Oh,
this quote was from a book that I read many, many years ago by Dr. Deepak Chopra. And I remember hearing that quote, and he's worded it the way he needs to word it. It's been around for, this moment is as it should be, has been said in many different connotations from many different spiritual guides, business people, friends, family, live in the now, be in the now. It's all the same thing. And so for me, I remember I was going through something particular in my life, and I got this, I want to say, my goodness, let me see, 15 years ago. So about 15 years I've had this. And it is a quote that I remind myself of. And I think it's true. I think where you are is exactly where you're supposed to be. Now, sometimes that's great, and sometimes that's not so great. And it's about living in it, experiencing it, not trying to push it away, good and bad, and enjoying that moment. The other one that's very sort of kind of similar, and it goes back to our first question, which is a nice circle back.
yeah,
Uh, Mr. Hanks has been known to say, "Is this too shall pass?" And I always think that's such a great thing to remember in good and bad. When things are amazing, this too shall pass. Things are not so amazing, this too shall pass. I sounded American there when I was saying it.
yeah,
This too shall pass. And I think that's such a great thing, but it's very similar and in the same wheelhouse as this moment is as it should be. Yeah.
yeah. I love that one. Yeah, I love both of those.
Well, I
Yeah,
think to remember, I think people have, peaks and valleys in life, and
yeah,
it's the world that we live in right now, we're inundated with social media and inundated with what everybody else is doing, what everybody else has. Where's my life? Why is my life this way? It's none of that's real, and you
yeah,
have to just be who you are. You've been created by, you know, God has brought you to this place, and you should live it and enjoy it and embrace it and experience it. Um, Somebody said to me recently that, so I'm not taking any credit for this, and but I thought it was great. And if we lived off this earth, if we was from some higher source, whatever faith you rely on, um, if somebody somewhere said to your being, to your soul, to your energy, to who you are without this human body, listen, I'm going to send you to this place called Earth, and you're going to experience everything. You're going to experience life. You're going to experience death. You're going to experience happiness, sadness, love, anger, joy, beauty. You're going to have all these emotions. You're going to feel this up and down, and you're going to have this incredible experience, this whole thing. Every single one of us would go, send me. I want to go there. I want to feel all those things that I want to experience life. I want to experience it. So I think it's a really good reminder that we're all here and you have to experience stuff and embrace it and, feel it and feel it fully.
yeah.
It's
I
what we're,
love that. Yeah. Well, that was my final question for you.
I have to tell you, your questions were incredible. They were
Thank
very,
you.
you didn't stump me with any of them. That's when you know it's a great question because they're such interesting questions, but I always had an answer. And that's what makes, them um so intriguing and intelligent. So thank you. And I also wanted to say,
Thank
because we
you.
were recording earlier, um,
Yeah.
love the fact that you had me on your vision board. And I love it that we managed to make this happen. That really made me smile. So
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot to hear. I have just had the best time talking with you. Thank you so much. I still, because you've been on my vision board for so long, I am trying not to lose all my words, and I can't believe this is happening. So thank you.
so glad that we made it happen.
Yeah, me too. Um, Yeah, I so appreciate your taking the time to join me today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
It's love, darling. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And that's a wrap on today's edition of The Latest with Maya.